right? If you were on that show, do you think you would be able to, you know, sway
No.
her?
No, I don't know. Well, see, that's what's weird is that like dating isn't like a competition. You should just like the other person. Like okay, so I know you might play a lot of video games, right?
Right.
Right? You can. I know. Now imagine if you're on a show with someone who's the bachelorette.
Uh-huh.
What if she doesn't play video games? What if when you talk about Brood War, her eyes glaze over?
If I was on that show, that would be the most entertaining Bachelorette season ever. I'm gonna just tell you right now.
Yeah, she'd be like, you know, I don't want to marry him, but here's a rose because we got to keep him around.
Exactly. But
Is this the way the dates would be, where you'd have the microphone and you'd be like,
is that? But if you go on a date, well, I don't know if you're single or if you're dating someone right now. But if you go on a date with someone, and they don't like video games, or they say something like, "I think video games are ruining our children," or whatever, is that just a deal breaker for you, or what?
yeah, of course.
What if she just doesn't know anything about it? Would you try and educate her?
Oh yeah, sure.
And your roommates, when you know, like when you go out with them or whatever, do they know that you're like this big caster in esports or whatever? And do you ever get recognized? And then they're just like, whoa, like what's going on?
Yeah, what I love to say is that the only times I will ever be recognized in public is if I'm with a friend. So it creates this really out of proportion image of like my notoriety. It looks like every time I'm ever out on the town in LA, it's like, Day9.
Yeah.
And of course, I've gone out on the town like 6 times with my roommates, and every one
Every
of those
time,
6
right? Yeah, okay.
times, yeah.
And are they just like, holy crap, like like my roommate's famous?
I don't think they give a shit.
I think they care. They're playing it cool.
I probably make them really intimidated, and they get a little anxious when they're brushing their teeth in the morning because they're like, oh, I might see Sean today. You're totally right, Ken.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. My roommates are just super awesome because, I mean, like, I have, like, big peaks and valleys in my energy. I mean, like, with broadcasting, people only see the times when you are most, like talking and most, and that's like part of me, but the other part of me, I really like to read and like watch TV and stuff, and I'm never like, oh, look at me, I'm reading this book right now, oh, what a cool page, you know. But that's exactly what I would do with StarCraft, right? I'd be like, oh, sweet, why does 9-pool, why would he 9-pool Terran on this map? Like, that makes sense in that context, but I mean, a lot of times I just hang out with them. My roommate Asher makes indie games.
He makes games. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's a gamer too.
Yeah, he recently won the Apple Design Award.
Oh wow, what game for what?
Threes?
What's Threes?
Did you ever play 2048?
No.
Well, that's the game that ripped off Threes.
What's Threes?
Threes is a puzzle game where you have 1s and 2s and you slide them around to make 3s.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Of course I've played 24. Are you joking? I've played like the versions with the different faces on it and stuff.
Yeah, so
I've brain fart.
Yeah, Asher, it's like one of the most interesting. It's like this centerpiece for discussion about like how copyright works, because I don't think anyone wants game mechanics to be copyrighted. I mean, they're not copyrightable right now, but I mean, you can imagine someone making a first-person shooter and saying, "Okay, I'm copywriting first-person shooting as a mechanic."
Right? Yeah,
No,
that would suck.
Yeah. All third-person shooting, nope, can't do it. Open-world games, nope. There's only going to be one. Grand Theft Auto can never have been made. Like that, you can't really do that. But when you have a really tiny phone, it doesn't have enough memory, it doesn't have enough storage for you to have a lot of unique content, like really cool level designs or unique art or something like that. It's all about the system that you make. So Asher worked for over a year, I think 14 months he spent on the game. And it's a very simple little game, and then it was released and immediately hit the top of the iPhone store, but it was a $2 charge. And of course, as everyone's seeing in games, charged box products are almost universally losing out to free products that
With
have
incentives, yeah.
yeah. Well, I should say losing out in terms of popularity, because there's a lot of people who will make free-to-play games that have like 100 people who've ever bought, and then they fall apart.
Yeah.
So what happens is someone made a clone of that. I think it's like just a programming test, and then someone else saw the clone and decided to whip up a little programming thing and make it all open source, very sort of innocently, just like, hey, this is a simple system, so I made it. and that was 2048.
Yeah,
which,
and then there's like 100 versions, thousands of versions of it.
yeah, and then someone actually took that code and made it into a free game, because the code was like totally open source, made it into a free game and put that on the iPhone store, and that was getting something like 1 million downloads a day. So while
Damn.
well, yeah, I mean,
Your roommate got hoodwinked. Someone took his
yeah, I mean, like he's probably more mature about it than I am, because I'm like, it's not fair, but of course it's totally fair, right? Like you could easily just say, oh well, you could easily made it free and considered that, but that's what made it such an interesting discussion point, because Asher worked really hard to do this design and actually made this, I think it's like a 5,500 word or 55,000 word postmortem.
Wow.
Or his the artist and partner, and he did.
But did they make a good amount on it? Was it worth it for them, time wise and like experience wise?
I'd guess so. I mean, it was top of the charts on iTunes for like.
Is your game gonna be charged or free to play?
Free to play for sure, yeah.
Okay. That's the way to go, I think, these days.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because it's a nice relationship. I mean, for me.
Well, it depends on like the elements of it, but yeah, you can have a free to play game that people hate because it's obnoxious in the way it.
Well, that's another interesting thing. Well, so first I'd say that like in theory I like the way that the relationship works. It's like a Twitch subscription where if you are subscribing to me, well, cool. It's very clear that you are paying for what I do as a service. And if at some point I'm like not giving good shows or I'm not doing shows, you can unsubscribe, and it's very clear what it is that you paid for, what it is that you received.
Yeah.
There's no like, hey, you can't see any of the daily's content, but if you pay me money, now you can see it. And then you pay me money, it turns out it's terrible, you know.
Or if it's like free to play, and if you subscribe, you get an extra SCV when you start.
Yeah,
that relationship is like too.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I would say, not well thought out relationships between the two, like the design aspect and the monetization aspect, because if someone spending money makes another person's experience worse, you just should not include that. But there's also these odd struggles that I don't know if we'll wind up with those, because I don't know how that would work with an RTS. But I mean, I'm thinking of the games where you play and you can play twice a day, and then it's like, you can't play anymore unless you pay $1.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
That's like Candy Crush, where you set your phone time into the future.
Yeah, I mean, and is that?
I do that all the time. My like when I was in China and I didn't have internet, my phone was up to 2018. You know, like I was playing Candy Crush in the future. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
Marty McFly, just zipping back and forth playing Candy Crush.
Going into the future, like, all right, I have to beat this level.
Yeah.
You make a whole teleportation device instead of waiting for like 3 hours.
They're like, you can't play for 24 hours. Like, well, guess it's November now.
Time to go to the future. There's hoverboards? Do they still have Candy Crush?
I actually was playing it so much that it was annoying to me to have to change it every 3 hours, because I would have to change the time back, right?
Yeah.
So I would actually just change the day, because that's easier, because it keeps the time the same.
You just create a bunch of alarms and just keep shifting the day.
Yeah, I would keep shifting the day forward 24 hours.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, I actually wonder a lot about, like, for instance, that. Because, I mean, if I'm spending my money on it, I'm not hurting anyone else. And I can perceive myself as spending money on that and being like, and I got to play some more, and I didn't make it, whatever. It was just $1. Like, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And is that okay? It's like a very interesting
I don't like that kind of format, but you know, I haven't seen. You could probably work out some details out of that, maybe make it work like that if it's you know, if you handle it better than the way Candy Crush does it.
Yeah, I mean, my knee-jerk reaction to it is I don't feel like it makes sense to me intuitively as someone who plays a lot of games. Like, I am playing the game and I now can no longer play, and I'm just paying to be able to play more.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's other analogies, like if you're at a poker table and the casino's taking a rake, no one really complains about that, because it's like, it's very clear. It's the service fee for, you know, doing that. Or an MMO, if you're paying a subscription, it's very clear, I see what it is, what I'm paying for. But that, it feels a little hard to know tangibly what it is that's... But I think the thing that's most interesting to me about those sorts of transactions is how do you get the useful data? How do you get the if you're a company, what would be great is if you could put that system out and get data that would say this is a good system or this is a bad system. So you'd imagine a company like Candy Crush Saga who puts in that system and is making so ridiculously much money. And
I don't know. Maybe I don't think anyone gets that. Do you? Being sarcastic, they make so much money.
well, but that's what I mean is that like so if you're thinking, well, okay, I want to change how we monetize. Well, everyone seems to do this. I mean, like for instance, like let's say we are a t-shirt company because you and I, we make good t-shirts, right?
Right.
And we have 7 t-shirts that we lay out, and 4 of them no one buys, 2 of them middle-ish, and 1 of them is a knockout. People love that.
Yeah.
Or actually, what we would conclude from it is we'd say people love that because look how much they're willing to buy it and look how much they're not buying here.
Right.
So when you put in one of those mechanics and everybody's buying, how are you supposed to improve on it? Because I think so many gamers look at that and they say, nah, that doesn't feel right as a mechanic. That feels wrong. Mm-hmm. Purchasing a skin for a character in a MOBA, it feels right. It feels okay.
Yeah.
But how do you gather the appropriate data? I don't know. That's something that I've been thinking about quite a bit recently.
Okay. So we've talked a lot, and this is a lot. This is a very long amount of time we've talked.
It's very dense.
With very only like 5 minutes spent on StarCraft. So have you been? Are you excited for MLG?
Oh yeah, of course.
What are you predicting is going to happen?
So here's the thing that I'm really excited about for MLG is the fact that it is just a huge ass out of control. Everyone's just going to play tournament. You know, I think
like the open bracket toughness is like insane right now.
Yeah, there's like is it 128 or is it 256?
I don't actually know the exact number, but I know like there's a whole bunch of really sick Koreans in the open bracket.
I mean, it's kind of funky because that was the problem many years back with StarCraft, where every weekend would be an out-of-control tournament. So there was actually no sense of structure at all.
And then WCS came, and it was some structure.
Yeah, and WCS comes, and it's some structure, and that's great. But it's really nice to have those opportunities still exist where people can go and play, you know, like the Dream Hacks, but even Dream Hacks have a little bit stricter of a structure of how to get into them. But, I mean, the MLG has always been a big opportunity for lots and lots of people. And, I mean, I have friends who are just, like, always at MLGs playing, and they're all diamond, and they just really enjoy being able to be part of the huge tournament experience, and that's the only thing that's really.
Are you looking forward to the signing session that will take 10 hours with the huge line?
Honestly, yes, and the argument for this is that it is the chance to see the vocal majority. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or the non-vocal majority.
Does anyone ever come up to one of those lines and just they'll just walk up to you and just say something really mean?
Oh, of course,
like they waited all day, and then they're just like one of those haters that gets like downvoted like crazy on Reddit?
Oh yeah, of course.
Really?
Oh, of course.
What do they say? They come up to you in person. What do they say?
Yeah, anything that you'd see on Reddit, they just like say to my face.
Really? Like they'll wait 6 hours and they'll come up to you and be like, "Dead game," and like run away or something.
I've seen someone do that for 6 hours, but 2 or 3 hours, yeah.
Wow. What do you say to those guys?
I don't know. It doesn't really bother me that much. I'm just sort of like, really? That's a long time for you to have stood there. He's like, that's and then goes away, and I'm like,
he's just like, I got him.
I don't really have time to think about that because now there's another person here.
And he's like all happy, like Day9, like great to see you. And the guy before is like, you're an idiot, like you suck, you know, and then just runs away.
Yeah, a lot of weird things like that. Like, well, you know, I can't say I like what you do, but I mean, I guess it's good for StarCraft. That's all I wanted to say. I've gotten that several times.
Guess you could sign this if you want.
No, they don't ask for a signature. They just say that and they go.
That's the. I just wanted you to know that, and that I'm lukewarm about what you do.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is I always want to meet the person who I'm talking to because then it's actually a conversation.
What do they look like? Are they the same? Do they look the same as everyone else? Just you and me?
They look eerily.
They look sinister.
Yeah, it's just like in the news.
Handlebar mustache and like.
Yeah. Serial killer wore glasses like normal person. You know, it's just like that. Where I'm just like, oh, you look like 10 other people who are at this event.
One of us.
But yeah, it's always weird because I mean, I like to meet someone, you know, and be like, hey, I'm Jake. Hey, Jake, I'm Sean. You know, now I can have a conversation, or you know, if I want to say something to Jake, I can call him Jake, and it's like a normal fucking conversation. But it's really weird. So I'm like, hey, I'm Sean. They're like, I know. They fucking.
I always introduce myself. Like I always assume they don't know who I am because it's always a little you know, it's a little. Sometimes it like for the 1 out of 100 people that might not know you in the line, don't you feel like it's kind of? I mean, in the line, I'm sure they all know you, but like when you even at an MLG, it's humble to be like, I'm Day9, you know, like.
Well, I'm not like, hey, I'm Day9. Well, I mean, because like going up and introducing yourself is not. It's not a hey. You might not understand what's happening to you right now. It's like it's just a nice formal thing. I mean, I'm kind of assuming that people who come to an MLG know who some of the commentators are, but I want to say hi because I want to actually talk to the person who's there.
Right.
Not like, all right, fucking move along. All right, did I sign anything? All right, move along.
Like, keep your distance.
Yeah, it makes it. Whoops. It makes it much easier, much nicer, much more pleasant because now I have a whole bunch of conversations in a row. Instead of just like, I don't care who you are, everyone's meat, I'm meat, and I'm signing, we're gonna picture, good, go, you want a picture, good, go, like, you know.
Yeah. Okay, well, this has been very long, and I'm keeping you very long, because we haven't talked in a while, and we could just go on and on, but let's do some shout-outs, and let's end this interview.
Well, if you want, we can do, like, multiple different interview chunks, because we haven't gotten a chance to talk.
I mean, we can talk again at MLG when you're free.
Oh my god, yeah, Ken turned me down. That was amazing.
I like my arm is really dead. I'm holding this camera like it's been like 40 minutes.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's like if Slasher was like, no, actually, I don't want you to retweet. I mean, that's like,
no, man, I would keep going. I know you're tired. Come on.
Well, actually, let's identify the time right now. So it's 5:32, which means traffic has just begun in LA, so I'm probably just stuck here. Last time
we want to go another 40 minutes, I will, but it's or you can do the shout-outs.
I'd like to thank my mom.
Exactly. Yeah, let's go.
In fact, thanks to Mama Bear, it is her birthday tomorrow.
Oh wow, okay.
June 19th. So I gotta hurry up and get her something from Santa Monica, right?
Get her a case of Red Bull. She'll appreciate that, right?
Hey, Mom, I got you the silver edition because I know your favorite colors. Well, it's green, but they don't serve that here.
It's free. That's the best part about this present.
Mom, look, it's so dope. Look, there was some leftover pizza too. But yeah, she's awesome. Always very encouraging with whatever it is I'm doing. Jesus, shout outs.
No one else, I guess.
No,
just your mom.
Thanks, Mom, and fuck everyone.
That's good enough. I mean, honestly, who's more important than your mom?
Yeah,
no one else.
Dope, dude. Actually, I want to give a shout out to the wonderful Day9 TV mods and the Day9 TV regulars because, you know, obviously there's a lot of just like negative, weird, like, it's amazingly prevalent as of late. It's been going away in the last few weeks, which is really nice, but that's the one thing that has always been so cheerful for me. You know, with any drama or stress or anything, to just log into chat and everyone's like, whoa, hello, you know, and using fucking emoticons from their Twitch subscriptions and stuff to, like, you know, of course my channel, all these other channels. It's really, really warm and great, and I really like that. So I thank you very much. So, and of course all you wonderful folk who helped with the HGL. That was a lot of fun, HGL. Oh, no, come in, Rob, come in. I was like, when are you going to get out of the fucking office?
Yeah, we're done. GG.
For running this event.
Thank you for doing this. Done.
Thanks, Ken. Boom.
Oh, I can't give you a fist bump. Oh, okay.
Yeah.